Hi there, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ryan, and today I'm joined by a special guest.
Hello, I'm Kerry.
And the other Nerdarchist, of course.
I'm Nerdarchy's Ted.
And Nerdarchy's Dave.
So we had a question on Twitter from TT.
Oh snap, we have a Twitter?
We do have a Twitter, at Nerdarchy, of all things, crazy enough. So it's from TTVS Timmy, and he just wanted us to discuss running an evil campaign. And how you make that happen. So what are our thoughts?
Well, he was asking too what our opinion of it was.
Right. I mean, a lot of players have always had a secret burning desire
to burn down the village.
To burn down the village. You know, we have plenty
burning
of
down
candles.
the village is awesome. Yeah. So we're burning down my house with all of the candles that I own.
Yeah. So pillaging the village, maybe raping, because that's evil. You know, maybe that should happen off screen.
First, then pillage, then burn.
Not in that order. Yeah.
That order.
I'm going to get them mixed up.
Like I always mess it up and do it the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes you pretty evil if you're like raping a burning person. Like that's pretty messed up.
That's pretty. Yeah. That's
Insult
the worst.
Injury.
Yeah, that's the worst.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I had to do.
Burning passion.
Well, funny enough, I think Nerdarchy's very first
serious campaign
as our group was evil.
As what we always referred to as a Saturday night group until Nerdarchy came 2 decades after. Was an evil game. And like every single game that I've been in that's an evil campaign, it always ends in disaster.
Yeah, actually, this one wasn't really player disaster.
Though, right?
It usually turns into like PvP. So I really don't like evil campaigns, to be honest with you. Because, you know, we're playing in the gift game, which is pretty evil. And, and that's been nothing but who can kill Lloyd, and no one can. He just murders them all. Especially the people that are most loyal to him. But, yeah, so I guess that's the real problem, like, with the evil campaign is you need something that's going to unify
an anchor
the players, you know, and keep them in line. Otherwise, they're all just going to be backstabbing SOBs and try and vie for power and control.
Yeah, that's a problem because evil characters tend to not trust anybody. So you need a reason for them to trust each other. So that way they're unified against an enemy and not just killing each other, unless, of course, that's the goal.
You need a little bit of that in the game because it's not an evil campaign if everybody's all kumbaya.
Well, yeah,
like,
if there's not a nice game.
There has to be dysfunction amongst the party to some degree. Like they need a unifying leader or cause. But to really be an evil campaign, if everybody gets along, you're not playing evil very well.
Well, think about just even like a regular, like good campaign.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a rogue, and automatically everyone just doesn't automatically distrust the rogue.
Yeah.
Well, now everyone is actually evil, so like you have to distrust the rogue, the cleric, the mage. Yeah. There is no safe harbor.
Right.
Yeah, but one of my favorite things about an evil campaign is not everybody is a baby-eating, sheep-raping asshole, all right?
So they're not chaotic evil.
They're not necessarily chaotic evil,
right.
All right? One of the things that I really, really like, who doesn't, not necessarily an evil campaign, but somebody who portrays evil well is the way they're doing Game of Thrones. You've got two sides that hate each other, they're killing each other, but they both think they're in the right.
Yeah.
So
is there anything we're gonna have to go spoiler alert before you talk about it?
No.
Okay.
I won't do that. Yeah. But they're not necessarily just baby eaters. Like they've got real motivations.
Yeah, like Cersei. Like you through time you come to sympathize with her. Not to going into any specifics, but there's like reasonings behind some of the terrible things she does.
But then some of the characters are just a-holes.
Well, like friggin' Gregor Clegane is a terrible human being. Like he is evil incarnate. But then there's others that are more.
And the Boltons, all right, they're baby-eating assholes.
Yeah.
But Cersei, she's got a motivation. She wants to protect her kids. So if you have something that really unifies that party, they're not necessarily going to be killing each other right out of the gate. I mean, maybe later on you get that super spiffy item that everybody wants, but you save that for the end.
Yeah,
you save it for later.
I almost feel like the best way to do an evil campaign, because there's like the meta game of like, all right, everybody knows we're doing an evil campaign. So now everybody knows to suspect everyone. But I almost feel like as the game master, when you like start recruiting your players to play the game, you like go to each individual player and say, "Hey, you want to make an evil character for my game?"
But don't tell anybody else.
Yeah. Like so everybody thinks like everyone thinks that they're the sole mole. So it's like, everybody's like suspicious. It's the same thing like if you're a criminal, you're not going to go, "Hey, I'm a criminal." You're going to like kind of feel out like what other people's
You're going to say, "I'm an entrepreneur," right? And you put a little bit of a spin spin on it. You don't
Right.
walk up and say, I'm a baby-eating asshole.
See, when I play evil, in what is being led on as an evil campaign, I like to go lawful evil, so that it's just like, all right, I'm just interested in bending those rules just a little bit, and this way you're not the chaotic evil wizard trying to take over the world. That's just my particular spin on it. I don't know where.
Lawful's the totally horrible like lawyer character.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I like lawful evil and neutral evil are my favorite evils to portray.
Mhm.
Yeah, neutral is just like it's what suits me for now, but like I'm not all about just wanted slaughter most of the time.
I don't need
Most
to
of the
burn
time.
every village I walk through, just the village of the people who piss
Piss me off. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So unless you worship a deity that's pretty partial to that, and then like every once in a while, all right, this one's for you.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's in the job description. What am I going to do?
I'm a cleric. I mean, I got this contract. I get this power. I just got to do this thing. So
It's not because I want to. It's just it's the God. They're making me do it.
totally the God. Yeah.
Totally. It's all for the god. Yep.
So, do we have any examples of evil campaigns that we played in?
I do have one thing that's interesting. We were playing, it was actually a hunter game once upon a time, and one of the characters died, lo and behold. So we're elf hunting vampires. All right, it's a White Wolf game. We're elf hunting vampires. One of the characters died, like you do when you're hunting vampires. You're humans hunting vampires. Somebody's going to die.
Bad idea. Yeah.
All right. So, maybe it's not necessarily an evil campaign, but it's a distrustful campaign. So it comes across with this whole distrust thing that we're dealing with. How do you deal with distrust in the party? And so, you know what? The one character dies and they go off and they make their second character like you do when you're hunting vampires. And this new character, friend that we know, somebody that we know, but, we don't know the character, comes in and the whole party goes, we have no idea who this person is. And so they locked him in a trunk of a car for the entire rest of the night because they had no reason to trust him. And lo and behold, in the hunter games, they added a mark that all hunters could recognize all other hunters. So that way,
So no one had to be locked in the trunk for a whole session again.
nobody had to be locked in a trunk for a whole session.
Nobody
Ever
puts
again.
Hunter in the corner.
Exactly.
I've played in numerous evil games, and as I said, they all end in disaster. There was the original game where, due to one thing or another, one by one, the players start dropping. The last player that was alive at the quote unquote end of the game was stuck in a sepia snake sigil.
So the outcome was not looking too good for him either.
But at least with that campaign, it wasn't PvP.
Right.
So that
mostly
that's
there
a
were
plus.
like some instances. I think there was a little backbiting that happened, but for the most part, it was pretty okay.
In college, we played a epic legendary game. We were all supposed to be these super crazy characters, and essentially whatever the god or great evil of one world said, you know what, I found a new world and we're going to take it over. And he sends his 5 generals and he's like, you have X duration, take it over. And we all had what we thought were our character designs. We went out there and we started doing stuff, and like not a single one of us stuck to what we thought our plan was. And the DM is like, this is crazy. You were supposed to do this. You're supposed to do this. You're all being punished for it because now good can raise up against you, as opposed to you just having taken the town right away. We went in and role played as opposed to slaughter, and it was just it ended poorly. And we wound up getting set into some like cursed slumber for 100 years, and utterly crazy.
Oh.
So are you saying evil is the anti-roleplay?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be. It's just
Was this not the best game master? Is that
no. I mean that game.
Or you just
master
gave
is-
you some real world consequences for dicking around and going on all the side quests.
we set up what we said was going to be our battle plan. Is we didn't follow it, and he's like, well, this is what happened.
They were led by the worst general ever.
Well, I mean, it's like Link, like supposedly rescuing the princess or whatever, and he's like off fishing. Like, oh yeah, in a minute, I'll save the princess, and then he's like doing something else.
Like, all right, my character, his premise was he wanted to be, the greatest swordsman, and since it's an evil game, it's like, oh well, I have no problem just slaughtering somebody, who's potentially better than me. And I'm like, I don't care when I kill him. If somebody tells me this guy's better, I'm just going to slaughter him. and I was presented with an opportunity of, this guy is destined to be better than you, and I didn't just cut him in half, and I have no idea why I didn't do it, and it's like, what's wrong?
Uh-oh.
And like after this magical curse, like this guy comes out, it's 100 years later, he's somehow this mega champion hero of the world, and I could have slaughtered him when he was a teenager, on a ship.
Yeah. Although that's not really fulfilling the arc of the character. Like, he wants to best the person.
Not in any way, shape, or form. No. Like, I specifically had it.
No, he just wanted to be the best. He didn't want the best.
He didn't. Yeah. Okay.
Like, I specifically said I have no problem murdering children if they are destined to be better than me. Like,
kill them while it's easy.
You were playing a baby-eating asshole.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
it was a chaotic evil. I'm focused on my particular goal. And I didn't.
He wasn't about honing the craft. He was about just eliminating the competition.
Yes.
He was
winning
like
the game, no matter what the cost.
Yes.
Not being the best at the art, just winning the game.
Right.
Well, and I guess like that's my issue with evil campaigns in general. They always like degenerate into like this immature parody of evil. So or it goes the other way where they're not evil enough and it's just not nice. So in my opinion, you just need something that binds the group together, that forces them to work together. And there's real consequences for, breaking that compact with each other, whatever it is. So, without that strong drive, eventually, it is going to break down, because it is going to be like, as you get closer to the end of the campaign, everyone is probably going to want to be the top dog.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so like
there can only be one.
The Highlander thing going on, but like most mature evil, like, you want to have an agenda. And like, you're guaranteed to have the megalomaniac, character
at least one
in an evil campaign, at least one. So like, they could start like carving up kingdoms and like trying to take it over, because really the real evil goal is tyranny. You want people to rule over and lord over, so you can like oppress them.
Unless it's just revenge. And you could set people up with a good revenge scheme, and then they don't necessarily want to rule over anything, because ruling is actually hard work, and that really stinks.
Well, I think
you want minions for that.
Well, I mean, in a party, you want to like. There's probably going to be like either the Palpatine at the table. Like, there's usually at least one.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then like revenge. I mean, like you can be motivated by revenge and be like a chaotic good character. So there's nothing special about that except for the things you're willing to do to accomplish your revenge on people.
Well, yeah, that's where you draw the line. But or if you need characters like Mr. Freeze, who he has a good intention, but he'll do anything to see it come to pass.
Yeah. Well, same thing with Dr. Doom. He feels like he can do it better. Do the rulership thing better than any other power that be. He's like, I'll be a benevolent dictator.
It's like Dr. Horrible.
Yeah,
he just wants to rule the world because he's the only one who could do it right.
Yeah, for sure. So Dr. Horrible's insights, there's all kinds of.
I guess the breakdown for me then is really like the character development with an evil campaign. Like, the characters are never developed quite right. They're parodies of characters. They just never feel real. You can't have 6 sociopaths working together. They can't accomplish anything.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily. Actually, some sociopaths there's character traits of sociopaths that can also be attributed to some very successful CEOs in like the real world. So I wouldn't say discounting being a sociopath as being a problem. It's not being a very smart and wise, because like you can be a highly functioning sociopath who has no sort of compassion or like social mores, but you know how to play. You know how to play the game. Like or just some like you become some high-ranking politician or whatever. Like or like you look at the Middle East with like ISIS and stuff like that. Like you lead armies. So I wouldn't discount the sociopath from being a legitimate.
There's clear-cut lines. You can be okay. We're functioning people that we just like killing, or we like acts of evil. It's when you get into the maniacal and your loss of grip on reality, that's where it tends to fall into, well, this dude's just going to go off and go apeshit bonkers, and we can't stop him, so we'll go let him get killed, and we can continue on.
Yeah, but that's a problem with the players. See, if you give your party,
I agree.
If you give your party enough tasks that they have to blend into something to get whatever they need, where they have to actually role play and you know, make friends with the guards to get past, because there's 10,000 guards and 4 of them. And give them something that they can't just kill their way through to do it. They're going to find a way to do it. They'll find a sneaky and maniacal way, but they don't necessarily have to kill everybody to get through it.
Yeah, because, I mean, the majority of your campaign world to be functional is going to be to one side of either good or neutrality, because evil is too chaotic, you know, unless you're playing Dark Sun. Yeah, if your world's super dystopian, then yeah, it might be largely evil. But they really do need to blend in with the rest of society to be able to wear that guise and kind of see their agendas come to fruition, because they'll be smoten with the hammer by like the cadre of paladins
and like the powers of the world. If you're playing in Forgotten Realms, you know, your Drizzt and your Elminster, they're gonna come on you like a tidal wave eventually.
So like a tidal wave. So
So give them some political intrigue or something that they have to work their way through it a little bit more slowly, and you can't do it with the sword. Doesn't mean their motivations are changed. There's their methods. They have to slow down a little bit.
Right. For inspiration, like watch like like a crime drama, like a mafia movie or something like that. You know, or Casino, like the arcs of those characters, where like it's really, you know, they know how the people to bribe and this and that. They're not super overt about their violence. And usually the people they're taking out are people that have like from their own fold that have gone wayward, or they're the competition.
Well, even using the Game of Thrones analogy, if you look at that, this economy there, the wiser of the rulers are like, well, we can only push the populace so far. Yeah, and there's going to be a tipping point, and then there's nothing we're going to be able to do beyond that.
But I mean, you could even do like a like Ocean's 11 heist, with a party. It's like, all right, you want to get into this, castle and steal this object for your greater master or whoever it is that you're serving. It's like, all right, you get this. You got to be able to get in and get out. There's no way to fight your way through it because, as you said, there's too many.
Yeah, you might have to slit a throat or two, but
it's going to have to do it, quickly and quietly and not leave any evidence.
Yep, a nice little subtle poisoning is really good in those situations.
Yep, or a sleep spell or whatever.
It's kind of better to almost play like that, the mercenary type group that isn't really evil, but they're immoral. So in the sense that they're not just going to kill or murder just for the sake of it. There's a job to be done. We do what needs to be done in order to get the job done.
Right.
And we don't worry about, the toes we step on in between.
Right.
But if we're not working, we're not working. We don't work for free. We eat suckers.
Yeah. But then like a village that they're down, they're going to put down a rebellion, which would be totally a legitimate rebellion or whatever. But there's an opportunity to ransack, and they're like, oh, well, all right, well, this is incentive. This is bonus.
Waste not, want not. Yeah. But I kind of like what you're saying. It's kind of like Firefly, where they're not trying to be bad, but you know what? They got to run the ship. They got to eat. So you take a job where you get it.
Yeah. They're, Firefly is a good example in the sense that they're not actually evil, but they break the law.
Right. Yep.
If they were all like Jane, then then they would kind of be more towards the asshole side. But, even that, he doesn't go out of his way to do it. It's like, I want something, I want to get something done, whatever we got to do it. I don't really care about what happens to them as long as I get my thing. But if my thing's not involved, there's no point.
I think the key here, though, is you have to figure out how to be evil without being an asshole. All right, look at Littlefinger. Let's go back to Game of Thrones. In my opinion, he is the worst character in the game. He's not necessarily an outright asshole, though. He doesn't kill people in public. He's not being obvious about what he's doing, but his machinations and the way he just lines things up. He's a schemer,
yeah.
He's a schemer, and that's pretty evil.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he's got he has less morals than probably most of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's smart. So when he does do it,
yeah, I'm not saying
it's brutal.
You can't even necessarily discount you're an asshole. You're just not overt about it. It's really the thing. You just got to keep that shit on the down low.
Right.
If you're willing to slit a party member's throat, you don't announce it. You're like, all right, well, things have come to blows. He's wronged me. I'm going to turn the other cheek now. But when he wants that healing spell, it's going to be an inflict spell. That's you take people out in a very sort of subtle way, and it's like, oh my God, didn't hear my prayers. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
So sorry.
Oh, man.
I mean, the best evil character I ever ran was actually Chaotic Evil, and he kind of just
the dwarf that was in Steve's campaign.
Yeah, and basically he was trying to resurrect his people, the Chaos Lords, that didn't really exist. And, you know, so he just worshipped chaos, and mainly what he did was just manipulate the other players to do what he wanted.
Was he delusional about them having ever existed, or what?
Well, yeah, he was kind of crazy. Yeah. He worshipped chaos, and and he was going to make it happen. He actually had dwarven followers that he was going to convert to that. But he took Ted's character and convinced Ted's character that you don't want to be a general, you want to be a king. Yeah, and then like he would I remember having Mike's character, which was an Uber Sciences, do something. And I knew that he wasn't going to take kindly to what I was doing with him. So as soon as he did what I wanted him to do, I blinded him. And so he couldn't see anything. You can't use psionics without sight.
Oh, that sucks.
Holy heck.
So I would just do things like that. And for the most part, even though he was kind of crazy, I still just worked from the shadows, and I tried to prop other people up.
Always making other people, more the bigger picture, so that you were just kind of there on the outskirts.
So you can little fingers it, so you just manipulate from the background.
Yeah, you make other people look like the bad guy.
It's the same thing of a criminal organization. Like you set these other people out to be like the more public, the people that their asses are in the line or whatever. And then when nobody knows about you being the one that's actually the director of this, the orchestrator of it all. And you use an alias, you wear a disguise, people only see your clawed hand of you petting your cat. Next time, get you. Next time.
But all that being said, I personally don't want to run evil campaigns because you get the asshole players. You don't get the thoughtful, well thought out characters. They all become a parody, and it turns into PvP.
Well, you gotta vet the people you're gonna play with. It's the same thing with sometimes not all games or players and the GM are always meant to be sometimes there's a group of players that what Lloyd has labeled as chuckle fucks or troll players, people that just want to play the game as a joke. And if you're the GM that has 90% more work to do than anybody else sitting at the table and you don't want to run that game, well, those are not people you want to be gaming with. So I mean that's like a pretty central.
Go ahead.
I personally, when I run a game, I try to limit any evil access, and I will talk to the players. It's like, all right, I run hero games. I want people who are striving to accomplish something for a reason, not just let's just play and let me be evil. So when you've got it's okay to have an evil person in the party, maybe two, depending upon how many people are there. But if you've got 5 players at the table and 2 of them are evil, their actions are definitely going to sway the others, and it can possibly lead into PvP if they're not pulling machinations and whatever.
True. Yeah, if you've got a mixed alignment party, that's tough. But if I had a group once that they were all evil. All right, and this is actually one of my favorite games. I loved this game. And they started off not really knowing, exactly what they wanted to do or where they wanted to go. They had their little characters.
GM or player?
I was GM. Okay. All right. And so what I ended up having them do was they had this deity that they were worshiping. And one of the folks was a cleric. And I slowly started revealing the ancient history of where this deity came from and the history behind this deity and all these ancient religious truths. And they had to go on all these really epic quests to discover all this stuff. And they had to blend in and blackmail people and do subtle things to find all this ancient lore. And as they're going on, they're finding out that there's a lot more to this deity than just, killing people and eating babies and raping sheep and so forth. So their characters were having to wrestle with, this deity has depth and complexity, and it's not just death. There's more to it. There's a reason behind it. There's actually a pretty good reason behind it. It's really complicated. And they had to deal with that, and their characters evolved with it. And it was all evil. It was evil the whole way through. And it was an evil deity. And then they were trying to find this artifact that was going to link them to it. And it was the resurrection of an evil religion. So it was actually really complex and really cool. So you can do it. You just have to make sure you don't have people that just, turn into, I'm going to kill everything because I'm evil. They were all motivated in the same direction because they're all worshipers of the same God.
And that's essentially what I'm saying. It comes down to the players. You need the right group of players that have the maturity to handle that. They can evolve an evil character and develop a character or personality traits from just like they would any other kind. And it's not all slay, kill, eat the baby. There's got to be more to it. They still love, they still care. they still have hopes and dreams. Or, they're still people.
They just should have a bias towards selfishness.
Yeah,
like that's the
Oh,
only
they
thing.
did.
Yeah.
Selfishness, or they just have one. They have a set of morals or goals that they set above everything else. So if that doesn't come into play, they could be like lawful good. But the instant that other stuff comes into play, all bets are off. They might as well be chaotic evil.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like evil players in my campaign. Like I don't like an evil campaign. I like evil players. I like building up
or evil characters, because the players, like when they start, you slit the throat of one other person at the table, and the
and all of a sudden it's bad blood.
Yeah, it stains the carpet.
Yeah,
not okay.
But and I've done it several times. Like
with to be Ryan quite often.
No, it's only Ryan once, Mike once, and Will. All of them have operated.
The one with Will was really good. Like I didn't.
He was he was just operating at a different at different goals to the party.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily that he was evil, but you guys are doing one thing, and he had a job to do, and he got planned into the party, and that was really cool because when we ended that campaign, because he was moving away, and the campaign was going to still go on. He got arrested at the end, and everyone's like, no, like the party member was ready. The rest of the party was ready to throw down with the watch and fight the soldiers to the town. And he's like, no, actually, they're right. I did it.
Everything they're saying is absolutely true.
And then Mike's character, he was like a smuggler, and
is this the one that was based on Nate?
Yes, it was. His character was a rogue, and he was a smuggler, and he was, he had an agenda, and the rest of the party had an agenda. Like one of the characters was a wannabe paladin. And they're completely at odds. The same game, your character died technically, and then
death is only it's kind of an arbitrary.
He got
state,
offered a
really,
deal, and he started kind of taking it. And I think it was in 3rd edition he introduced the taint rules.
Well, and also possession. He was possessed was a part of the thing. He took on, like, he had a thing that had a demon inside of it that he allowed into him.
The familiar through a familiar.
No, it wasn't. It was. I think it was through like a blade or something like that.
It might have been.
Yeah.
But is it your fighter mage?
Yeah, it was a fighter mage. Yeah.
Yeah. So we started using the taint rules, and so he was slowly going that way. And Mike was completely working against you guys the whole time, and he was doing a pretty good job with it. I like that. I like having like that one player that's going to end up being the bad guy. Because
it played well. Like you want to kind of like. After like the campaign going on for years, they finally realized in this one dramatic moment that it was me the whole time.
That's epic. I like that.
That's badass.
Like my dealings with that, I very rarely want to go the evil character. I know in your Pathfinder game, like, all right, I rolled up an evil guy. I thought it was interesting. It was definitely fun to role play, but that's not.
But the world was evil and dystopian too. Like, so I mean, in a world where survival of the fittest is like the MO, he wasn't really that out of place or all that evil comparatively.
Well, in comparison to the rest of the party.
Well, I don't know. I don't find Dark Sun to be evil. I think it's very
gritty.
Survivalist, gritty, and the top tier is evil.
Yeah.
But
it's mostly at the top tier where the evil resides.
It's just harsh.
When you're a player and there are machinations working against you.
And you made a baby eater.
I absolutely made a baby eater. He even threatened it. But when you're playing a regular game where everyone's supposed to be a hero, having machinations in the party that's trying to work against you as well as what the DM is doing, it adds more complexity, more challenge. And it's like at times it's like, well, if that guy is really good or that player is really good at it, it can totally just screw everybody.
Well, I mean, like, you don't give this person like uncontested resources. Like it's relative to what he has access to. He's not gonna have a ton of wealth because he's with the rest of the party and getting like a small portion of what they get. And
but
so
if there's like an organization that he's working with, then like he could get access to more.
He's a lower level guy. They're not gonna like, oh, here's a set
but he
goal.
can only get it if you as the GM give it to him.
Sure.
Exactly. You're still kind of limited there.
True.
Yeah, like, oh, we're fighting this war on this other front. We need the coin to go to flow here or whatever.
We gave you the job. Get it done.
Or you're not doing a very good job. You should be kicking up to us. We're going to be very disappointed unless you keep the gold flowing up this way. Because in most organizations, the gold usually flows up. It's the reverse of trickle down effect.
Right.
So, I mean, really, they're not going to just throw a sack of gold at you.
That's true.
So, yeah, but no, I love when you're talking about having the mixed alignment party. I love the idea of the one or two players actually like steering the party into doing like what ultimately ends up being evil acts or whatever. Like, you're actually like
You're talking about Helmsworthy, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, but
Hemsworthy.
He's kind of good, but like machinating to like reconstruct an artifact to like an evil deity, or like open up a gate to, I don't know, a plane of chaos or the abyss, something fun like that. So I don't know. Have we slaughtered through this video enough? Do you think?
I think we have.
Yeah, I still don't know whether we like evil campaigns or not. I think it's a mix.
I like them.
I like them.
All right,
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So me and Ted don't like them. You guys like them.
Yeah.
So with that, you guys can tell us what you think of evil campaigns down in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out on nerdarchy.com.
Or maybe you could patronize us in a good way at Patreon. We'd appreciate it.
And thanks for hanging out with us, Kerry. And
Cool.
Until next time,
stay nerdy.